Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, some people didn't have the opportunity to, okay, please, thank you. Didn't have the opportunity to do the gram stain. We have no control over that. But what was happening towards the very end, the staining process just gets to be more and more difficult because that bacteria can only stay viable or alive for maybe 3-4 days at the most. We pushed it to, or 5 days at the most, and that's where we're at right now. All right, so if you weren't here and didn't get it done, it's not going to hurt your grade. It would just exempt you, and that's the only best approach that we have. Okay, otherwise,
have to make it up.
no. Okay. Moving on, we talk about plants, as you can see, and if you were flipping through the pages, vocab, there's a lot, okay? And you'll notice it's already filled out for you, okay? So with that, okay, we need to slowly make that transformation for those of you who are going to take elective classes next year. Because when that happens, with the anatomy and physiology class, you are given the definitions just like this. On evaluation, you have the definition, and then you write the term in. There is no word bank. Okay?
There's no word bank? That's
No word bank.
So this is going to be our next test or no?
Yeah.
There's no word bank?
Okay. We're not quite communicating here. We said there's no word bank for which class? Anatomy and physiology.
Alright, that's all I was asking.
Because I told you that already.
Yeah, you moron.
Okay? So, they did over there. Okay. Okay. Well, now we know.
Yeah, that's all I was wondering.
Okay. So, moving forward with plants, I know it's not the most interesting aspect, but I would certainly think that with agriculture, okay, it probably is. Okay? So, with that, we will go ahead and get started. Okay, so from prior knowledge, whether maybe it's a lot, maybe it's limited, what is any or everything that you can tell me about plants? Okay, they're green because if you got chlorophyll in them.
Yeah.
And they go through a process of photosynthesis. Okay? Anything else? What might be the three main structures in plants?
Leaves.
That's one. Leaves is one.
Stem root.
Stems is two, and then roots would be the third one. Okay? Now, I don't know what you had discussed in elementary or middle school. We just try to fill in the gaps with what the content standards want us to cover. Okay. So, moving forward. Okay. When we talk about plants, okay, just like any other living organism, it's, well, majority of organisms is multicellular. So it's going to be made up of a variety of cells. in to me, what comes to mind first is certainly water. Okay? Well, and that's why hopefully we drink a lot. And well, and there's certainly nothing wrong with sports drinks either. But how many of you, if you celebrate the Christmas season, how many of you are artificial tree people, if you don't mind sharing? How about real Christmas trees? Okay? So what could we presume that if you, to me, if you have a real Christmas tree, it's probably because of the smell that the trees give off? Is that part of it? Or is it, I'm just asking, okay? So if you have a real Christmas tree, okay, I'm just wondering, do you continually have to add water to that, correct?
That's correct. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I would presume that's right.
And is that daily? I'm asking because I don't know.
My mom does it for me.
But when that runs out, that's what I mean. Is that every day? Is that every other day? If you know. If you don't know, say, I don't know. Okay.
That's pretty daily. Sometimes every other day. Depends how much you water it.
Because if you don't, what happens? Why are you going to have a mess?
Because the stems will fall off.
Not the stems.
The
The pines,
pine.
the needles on there will fall off. Because it gets too dry, and then it'll probably turn color, and all the needles fall to the floor. Like I said, then you've got a mess. Okay?
Then you have to sweep them up.
So just like any other organism, it needs large amounts of water, which we could say is refreshing with how much water we see you people drink. Okay? Because all the metabolic actions that take place in the body, it takes a lot of water to continually have that take place. Okay? So, with this, if we're talking about making sugars from last semester, where would possibly making sugars take place? Say that again. Oh, well, that's what it is. In the leaves, that's right. So if we're making sugar in the form of glucose, it would take place in the leaves. Does anyone think they know why that is? Because that's where the sun comes in. The leaves absorb the UV light, okay? And then it pushes that electron on in the electron transport chain from the molecule of water once it gets split. I don't know if we remember that from last semester. Maybe, maybe not. Okay? Other functions, this first type of parenchyma, so you can see storage of water, nutrients, because if you're making sugar, you're going to want to have some of that water stored where it is that you need it. The majority of it is stored in the roots, because that's where the water is actually absorbed and then transported up to the leaves. Okay? So, first type is parenchyma. Second type of cell is called collenchyma. Okay, so if we look at this down here, They specialize in supporting regions of the plant that are lengthening. Where is it that plants get taller at? At the stems. That's right. So now, and you could say that these are the growth plates. Now, when we say growth plates, for those of you who may take anatomy and physiology next year, you have these structures on your long bones, your femur, your tibia, your fibula, your radius, your ulna, your humerus. All those bones start to elongate. And then that's when you start to go and grow vertical. So that would be something fairly similar to humans. Parenchyma is, say, the growth plates of these organisms. Okay.
I guess I'm the problem.
I want to get through this and that. Okay.
Watch me. I'll touch his skin. Kick your ass.
Then a third type of cell, sclerenchyma.
Which one goes to the last one of the second type? The last hit. This one's not even the same.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
Like for the third type, we have the contained one, and then we have the majority of this is wood.
I guess.
Okay.
So we're figuring it out right now. No, I'm saying the third type that goes on the yeah. I thought we were just missing the top one.
Oh, maybe we are missing some. Okay. Okay. So then,
I'm gonna see if I can just keep the game going low scoring, like 0-0.
so you say, and I see that we're missing a dash after this here. Then there's a dash. Okay. So then, yeah, there must not be anything that goes there. Okay.
But that's not our third type.
Yeah, because it said, like, the majority of this is wood. And
Okay.
it doesn't say it on the screen.
Okay. And then, yeah. So we're missing some of that. So go ahead and just write this down for sclerenchyma. All right. So then you have, there's room there for 3 dashes. I must have inadvertently removed one of those.
No, it's not. Just leave it out.
Okay, does everyone have this content that wants it? Okay. Okay. Then finally, I want to talk about this structure here, or the cuticle. Now, some plants have more of this than others. Where is a cuticle found in humans? Does anybody know? In your fingernails. Okay. Although we don't really have a waxy substance on our fingernails, but there is a ridge on there that makes up the cuticle. So that's the type of correlation that we like to make here. This here? Ground tissue? Okay. All right, there's a break in the vocabulary that might... Okay. I see dermal tissue. Okay. Yeah, the vascular tissue. Okay, so we're missing some of this in here. Okay.
We're missing all the ground tissue.
All right, but we will start with that tomorrow. Okay, does everyone have this content that wants it up to cuticle? Okay, then if you would please open up to page 632. And then just follow along, because what we put down is maybe not quite as extensive as what you see here on page 632. I think it's just important to read through this content then as well. Then we'll wrap that up for today. Because one of the things to think about that is when you started the class, you all wanted water. So you go to the drinking fountain and obtain water. Plants don't have that ability. So they have to rely on Mother Nature. Okay? So that's something that's rather unique about plants. Okay? When we feel hungry, we may go to the refrigerator, or we go down to the lunchroom when it's 12:25 to almost 1 o'clock. So we take in nutrients in that sense. Again, plants don't do that. They are autotrophs. They have to manufacture their own materials. So with plant cells on page 632, you can identify a typical plant cell like the one in figure 1 by the presence of a cell wall. Because of course, animal cells do not have a cell wall. Bacterial cells do. That's how you can see the difference between gram-positive and gram-negative. And large central vacuole. Also, plant cells have chloroplasts. That's one of the things we said earlier. They're green. Okay? They have the cells that take in the pigment of chlorophyll. However, there are many different types of plant cells, each with one or more adaptations that enable it to carry out specific function. 3 types of plant cells form most plant tissues. Together, they provide storage and food production, strength, flexibility, and support. The first type, parenchyma cells, most flexible, thin-walled cell found throughout a plant are parenchyma cells. They are the basis for many structures and are capable of a wide range of functions. including storage, photosynthesis, gas exchange, all those that we talked about earlier. Photosynthesis, you would find this taking place in the leaves because that's where the sunlight is absorbed. These cells are spherical in shape and their cell walls flatten when they are packed tightly together, as shown in Table 1. An important trait of parenchyma cells is that they can undergo cell division when mature. When a plant is damaged, parenchyma cells divide to help repair it. Okay? Depending upon their function, parenchyma cells can have several features. Some parenchyma cells have many chloroplasts, also shown in Table 1. These cells are found in leaves and green stems and carry on photosynthesis, producing glucose. Some parenchyma cells, such as those found in the roots and fruits, have large central vacuoles that can store substances such as starch, water, or oils. Okay? Parenchyma cells. If you have eaten celery, so this is where we talk about those growth plates where plants grow longer, okay? We're talking about parenchyma cells. You might be familiar with parenchyma cells. These cells make up these long strings you can pull from celery stalks. Parenchyma cells are plant cells that often are elongated and occur in long strands or cylinders and provide support for the surrounding cells, as shown in Table 1. Parenchyma cells, okay, can have unevenly thickened cell walls, or as parenchyma cell grows, the thinner portion of its cell wall can expand because of this growth pattern. Parenchyma cells are flexible and can stretch, which enables, okay, plants to bend without breaking like parenchyma cells. Parenchyma cells retain the ability to undergo cell division when mature. And then finally, the third type, sclerenchyma cells. Unlike parenchyma and parenchyma cells, these types are plant cells that lack a cytoplasm, or I should say lack cytoplasm, and other living components when they mature, but the thick, rigid cell walls remain. These cells provide support for plant, and some are used in transporting materials within the plant. Sclerenchyma cells make up most of the wood we use for shelter and fuel for paper products. Okay? Just want to know how far to go. There are two types of sclerenchyma cells. Two types of cells, scleroids and fibers, as shown in Table 1. You might have eaten scleroids. They create the gritty texture in pairs. Scleroids are also called stone cells, and they can be distributed randomly throughout a plant. There are shorter than others and are somewhat irregularly shaped. The toughness of seed coats and nut shells results from the presence of scleroids. Scleroids also function in transport. A fiber cell is needle-shaped, has a thick cell wall, and has small inner space. When stacked end-to-end, fibers from a tough elastic tissue, humans have used these fibers in making ropes, linen, canvas, and other textures for centuries, as shown in Figure 2. Okay, I think we will stop there for today. Tomorrow we'll continue talking about plant tissues, the meristems and apical meristems. And one of the things that we do in the zoology class is that we have you do certain drawings. This will be no exception. We'll have you draw different types of leaves, stems, and cells. It just helps you retain that content. When you write things down, I believe it helps you out. So that's all I have. We will catch up to you next time.